Thank you very much, Madam Deputy Speaker, and I'd like to congratulate the Honourable Member for Newport East for securing this evening's debate. The Honourable Lady has been a passionate advocate for the UK steel industry, including in her role as co-chair of the APPG on steel and metal-related industries. Clearly, this industry, this sector, is important to the United Kingdom, and testament to that is the number of colleagues who are in the chamber at 11 p.m. On a Monday night. There is one colleague who is unable to intervene or speak tonight, as the member for Corby, and although he cannot make his voice heard in this place, he certainly does on behalf of his constituent who work in the important steel industry in his constituency. Madam Deputy Speaker, this debate represents a welcome opportunity to discuss the UK steel sector, which will continue to play a critical role as a foundation industry as we secure our economic recovery and long-term prosperity following the impact of the coronavirus. Madam Deputy Speaker, you will know that the steel sector provides well-paid and highly skilled jobs, as we've just heard from the Honourable Lady. It also plays a key role in critical UK supply chains across many important parts of the UK economy, including, as we've heard tonight, on automotive, construction, power generation, and of course, defence. Earlier this year, we welcomed the acquisition of British Steel by Ginier following a period of insolvency. Very briefly, because I've got a lot to get through tonight, a lot to say about.
Thank you. Just to say that the constituents in Scunthorpe regularly mention to me that the support that they receive from the government. Does my right honourable friend agree with me that support for other steel plants such as Selsa is vital? Minister.
It certainly is, and I hope I will be able to cover this in the time I have left to me. Both officials and ministers invested considerable time and effort in closing the deal with Ginier and the planned £1.2 billion investment that will go into the operations of British Steel. I hope the Honourable Member agrees that this represents a huge vote of confidence in the UK steel industry and the high-quality steel produced here in the United Kingdom. Notwithstanding this positive outcome for British Steel prior to the pandemic, the global steel industry was already facing significant headwinds. This includes demand slowing across developed economies and persistent global excess production capacity, which depresses prices and harms the profitability of UK steel producers. In the last few days, Madam Deputy Speaker, Tata Steel has published their accounts, which show a challenging position across their UK and their European operations. Whilst it is not appropriate for ministers to comment on the performance of individual companies, I would like to reassure the Honourable Member that we continue to work very closely with the entire UK steel sector and the trade unions, and that we understand the challenges facing the industry in the UK. Whilst the coronavirus has come at a challenging time for the industry, we have been working intensively over this period to ensure that the UK steel industry has been able to access the support it needs. Since the start of the COVID-19 pandemic, the government has set out a far-reaching package of support to protect jobs, incomes and businesses across every part of the economy. Those working in the steel industry have been amongst the 9.6 million individuals across the country who have been able to access the job retention scheme. The scheme has protected people's livelihoods in the industry and ensured that steel manufacturers have been able to retain high-skilled staff whilst managing the impact of reduced demand caused by the pandemic. Importantly, Madam Deputy Speaker, we work closely with the steel industry representatives over this period to ensure that the furlough scheme, the job retention scheme, was sufficiently flexible. It's one of the real key asks from the industry and from the unions to meet the changing requirements of the industry as the wider situation evolved. I've been engaging personally on a regular basis with companies, with trade associations and of course the trade unions to gather their feedback. Direct input from the steel sector has helped to shape a number of our COVID-19 support schemes, the coronavirus large business interruption loan scheme, the tax deferrals and the trade credit reinsurance scheme. In fact, which we launched today at £10 billion, were measures that clearly came through that particular engagement with the industry. They were developed rapidly in response to that particular challenge faced by the companies in the industry. In addition to these far-reaching economy-wide schemes, we have committed that we will consider bespoke support as a last resort basis where a viable company of strategic importance has exhausted all other options available to it. The House will be aware, and the Honourable Lady mentioned it, that such circumstances apply to Celsa Steel, which is a critical supplier to our construction industry. Government support in this case secured over 1,000 jobs, including 800 positions at the company's principal site in South Wales. Commercial confidentiality prevents me from setting out further details in this case, or indeed from commenting on any discussions that we have had with individual steel companies over this period. However, I hope that honourable members would agree that this is a clear signal from this government of continued commitment to the UK steel industry and the 30,000 individuals who are employed in the sector. Of course I will.
I thank the Minister for giving way, and the support to Celsa was absolutely welcome, and we certainly appreciate that. But what about Tata Steel? The Minister said that you're looking for strategic importance and a viable business, and one that will play a critical role in the future of our manufacturing sector. Surely Tata Steel should qualify on all three of those counts.
I'm grateful for the honourable member, and he will know, because he is deeply involved in his constituency with Tata Steel, that he's absolutely right as to the strategic importance of Tata Steel. He will forgive me that I will be unable to go any further in terms of protecting commercial confidentiality at this stage. Suffice to say, he's absolutely right. It ticks all those boxes. As we transition from managing the immediate challenges, Madam Deputy Speaker, presented by COVID-19 to securing the long-term recovery of the UK economy, we will continue to work with representatives of the steel industry, the unions, the devolved administrations, to address the strategic challenges faced by the sector. We're committed to working collectively with these partners to shape the steel industry that is sustainable, productive and innovative. To this end, we are taking action in key areas, and I just want to outline a few of those priorities for UK steel companies, including energy prices, procurement, research and innovation, and international trade. I will give way.
I thank my honourable friend for giving way. On energy pricing, it obviously still remains an inhibitor to our steel industry and bringing steel making back to Teesside. So what steps has the government taken to improve innovation in the energy sector to bring about cleaner steel making?
I'm grateful, and his timing is impeccable, I have to say, because I'm just about to come on to our focus on energy and the Clean Steel Fund as well. As we set out our focus on the recovery, our objectives, Madam Deputy Speaker, is both to boost the sector's short-term competitiveness and support the longer-term transformational investment that colleagues have spoken about, that will drive productivity, efficiency, and of course support our net zero goals. On energy prices specifically, the ability of our steel industry to compete internationally is a priority for this government, and we remain committed to minimising energy costs for business. Since 2013, the government has provided £480 million in compensation to the steel sector to make energy costs more competitive. Moreover, Madam Deputy Speaker, we are investing £315 million in the Energy Transformation Fund to help energy-intensive businesses such as steel companies to cut their bills, transition to a low-carbon future. On innovation, supporting our steel industry in the UK to decarbonise and make the most of clean growth opportunities is a key priority for us. This is part of our wider agenda to put the UK at the forefront of research and innovation in the coming years. Last year, we announced two important new research and innovation programmes which will help the steel industry in its efforts to reduce emissions and support the decarbonisation of the UK economy to achieve our ambitious 2050 net zero targets. I will give them.
Thank you for giving way. I mean, this is all well and good, but he hasn't addressed the real crucial issue of actually dumping. And if all these measures are put in place, if steel is being dumped on this country, it will not take long before it kills our industry.
I'm grateful to him, and I will try, and I will come back to the issue of anti-dumping at the end of my remarks today. Just to finish on the point of an innovation, another £250 million, £250 million on Clean Steel Fund will support the sector's transition to new low-carbon technologies and processes. A £100 million low-carbon hydrogen production fund will support the deployment of low-carbon hydrogen in industry to help decarbonise a range of sectors, including steel. And of course, on procurement, I just want to make some headway on this, and happy if there's time at the end. I will come back to the honourable gentleman. The honourable lady quite rightly mentioned procurement. It is also a priority for this government to ensure that UK steel producers have the best possible chance of competing for and winning the contracts associated with our domestic infrastructure investment. We have published a steel pipeline on national infrastructure projects worth around £500 million over the next decade. For the first time, Madam Deputy Speaker, we have also published data on public sector steel procurement, which will be refreshed in the coming weeks and on an annual basis thereafter. This information will, I think, serve as testament to our ambitious plans for the UK source steel within our pipeline of major infrastructure projects. It will also serve as an accountability mechanism, and we work with the sector to achieve this shared aim. We recently welcomed the commencement of construction work on the largest of these infrastructure projects. The Honourable Lady mentioned it, HS2. We are keenly aware of the opportunity this represents for our domestic steel sector. The Department's steel pipeline update from last year indicated that HS2 will require over 2 million tonnes of steel over phase 1 and 2. We're also mindful that there are mechanisms by which we can actively support the sector to realise this opportunity, as well as future ones, within the parameters of our legal frameworks. To take just one example, as a department, BASE has signed up to the UK Steel Charter, which has been mentioned several times tonight. We recognise as an important initiative developed by industry, in which we are actively encouraging other departments to also sign. We look forward to making continued progress on this issue of procurement over the coming months. I just want to turn to international trade and EU exit, which were both mentioned in the debate. These are huge areas of strategic significance for the UK steel industry. Overcapacity in steel production remains a global systemic challenge to the sector, and we continue to work as part of the G20 Global Forum for Steel Excess Capacity to address this problem. Unfair market distorting practices have been partly to blame for this situation. We want to see all countries act on and implement the recommendations agreed by G20 ministers, and we will maintain pressure on them to do so. In preparation for the end of the transition period, the government has legislated for the full suite of tools permitted under WTO to address unfair trading practices. We are working closely with the Department for International Trade to ensure that the UK has a suitable trade remedy system in place for the future, which maintains the protection of our steel industry. We're also engaging with our European Commission colleagues to discuss how the steel safeguards should operate after the end of the transition period, with the aim of preserving traditional trade flows and providing as much continuity to industry as possible. We are committed, Madam Deputy Speaker, to transitioning the definitive safeguard measures on those steel products categories where there is a UK interest. And we continue to make a strong case to the EU on behalf of the UK steel sector to ensure that appropriate tariff rate quotas are provided to UK exporters as soon as practically possible following the end of the transition period. I think, look, these are unprecedented times, and the challenge is big for the UK steel industry. I've got half a minute left, but I'll take his intervention.
If I could just ask the Minister to underline our commitment to blast furnaces as a central part of the steel-making process. And with the right investment, yes, transition to hydrogen, etc., but blast furnace production is absolutely central.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. The honourable gentleman is absolutely right that we've got to make sure that as a foundation industry we continue, of course, to look at innovation in how, whether it's electric arc, or other technologies that are emerging, whether it's hydrogen that we're seeing the adoption of, but
Order.
absolutely committed to that.
The House stands adjourned.